Hi everyone, I'm Sean. I'm a CTU student currently studying computer science year 3, and I'm also doing my placement in CTU App Lab. And I mainly develop iOS apps for 1 year now, and so I'm the main constructor for this workshop. So
why don't we introduce our distinguished honorary guest today?
Oh yeah. If any of you guys ever search for iOS tutorial online and you always come with the name AppCoda, and this is the founder of AppCoda, Simon. Yeah.
He has been chosen on Twitter as the top 50 Twitter guy on the world of iOS development. He's so world famous.
So let's start our iOS workshop. So the first section, the first hour of our workshop, we will be focusing on Swift. And the second half will be focusing on a very simple app and using on this storyboard. And so for Swift, we will be using Swift 2.2. And if you guys watched WWDC a few days ago, they have come up with Swift 3. But if you can master Swift 2.2, it's very easy for you to pick up 3 later on with transition. So, do all of you have programming backgrounds, or any one of you don't have any backgrounds? Okay. So now, on your desktop, you have Xcode, and this is Xcode. Wait. You open Xcode, and then now, in order to run Swift, we have something called a playground. So the first one. So get started with a playground, and this is the one you need. You just double click on it, and you will come up with a prompt, and you just next, and then just save this somewhere, create. And this is your new playground. So some of the iMacs have some technical problems where you cannot run it, but most of them are fine. So if you can run it, you can share or look at the people beside you. So in Swift, we have many different data types. So now, first we can talk about constants. I assume all of you guys have basic programming backgrounds, so I will just jump straight into what's relevant. So a constant is something you declare once and you never change it again. And in Swift, to declare a constant, you use the word let. Let orange be orange. And Swift is a strong typing language. That means once you declare orange as a string, you cannot change the type of it anymore. So let's do a demo. So I let orange equals to and then playground is actually an interpreter. So once you type one line, it will auto run the code, and then you can see the result there, orange. It will print a string. And then let's say if I try to change orange to something else, orange equal to 2, and then you get an error. And this error says that you cannot assign a new value to a constant. And this is the same across all programming language. And because Swift is a strong typing language, you can also declare a constant with the type explicitly. Let's say let apple, a string. So you can have the type explicitly declared, or Swift will automatically inference the type for you. So let's go back to the slide. And then the constant, and then you have a variable. variable is something you declare once and then you can change it many times. And then for variable, we use var, which is similar in JavaScript. And let me type. So var number equals to 2, or it's the same as typing var number integer equals to 2. So you can declare the type, or you can just write it without the type. And then you can actually change a variable. Number now equals to 3. And then you have the current situation right here. So there are many data types in Swift, but actually there are only a few that you use most often, and these are all of them. The first one is integer. An integer is a number without decimal point. And then for decimal point numbers, you can use double, or you can use float number for like 0.921. And for string, it's all the strings. Anything you can put into a quote. And even you can use emoji in a string. And then array, we have something like this. Let's say this number list is an array of integers. And then you can just declare all the integers and put it inside this square bracket. And then the fifth one, I don't know if any of you guys heard of dictionary. It's actually a key value pair. So let's say I have a username and password, so it's a pair. So let's say I have a favorite movies, a list of favorite movies, and then I put it into dictionary. Let's say Now You See Me Too is of year 2016, and the next my favorite movie is Finding Dory, and it's also 2016. So I will do a demo so you can understand it more. So let's go back to playground. Can you guys at the back see what's on the board?
Very good.
Yeah, okay, sure. And so let's first integer. So let magic number integer equals to 42. And there you have integer. And you have floating point number. Let pi float equals to 3.421. I'm not sure about pi number, but this is what I remember. And double is actually similar to float, but it has more place for the number of decimal points. So let's exchange rate a double equals to 0.1234567. I forgot how much you can put, but a lot. So this is a basic number data type, and then you have string. So let's say my name is Sean, and then this is a string. Or I can just let my favorite animal equals to, if you want to use emoji on a Mac, you just press on Command, Control and Spacebar, Command, Control and Spacebar, and then you will be prompted with an emoji keyboard. And you can just click on it and then you have the emoji, the lion emoji in the string. You want that? So I'll continue. So if any one of you play the lottery, the 6 numbers, so you have a list of 6 lucky numbers, you call it. And then we'll declare a list of 6 numbers. So let's say let 6 numbers. Anything behind the column is the type for the variable. And then I'll put square bracket integer equals to the numbers 23, 87, 123, 56. 68. And then here you declare an integer. So same with array of other type, you can just call it like 6 numbers of number 0, and you will come up with 23. So all of you guys know, right? Computer start with 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 numbers 0 is actually 23. So if you want 1, 2, 3, so actually it's 6 numbers of element number 2. And then you have 1, 2, 3 here. And then the next data type we are going to do is a dictionary. Anyone? So now we are going to do a username and password pair. So we're going to declare variable var, username, password of type. Username is a string, password is a string. Equals to. So username Sean, passwords 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. And now you declare a value pair of username and password. And then type another one, Samson. Samson. DEIP. Okay. So if you want to use a dictionary, you just call like this, like username, password, and in dictionary, so this is a key and this is a value. So if you want to call, what's the password of Sean, so you just type the dictionary name and then you just call the key of the key value pair. So let's say username Sean, then you will get 1, 2, 3, ABC. And username, password, Samson. And you get DEF. Oh, if you can't see, I will just scroll down. Wait. Do you have any problems? And we have our assistant Keith and Samson. Raise your hand if you have any technical problems. So that's with data types. And now we'll go back to the slides. Logic. So every programming language will have if else as a very simple conditional logic. So in Swift, it's actually the same. You just use if and else. And there's no need for square brackets. No, there's no need for brackets in the statement. So, okay. So now, let magic number equals to 41. And I will do a if else. If magic number equals to 41, print yes, else print no. And the playground will interpret the magic number is 41 and it will print yes. So if I change the value of magic number, let's say magic number is now 48, and now it will print a no instead of a yes. And there's also else if magic number equals to 41, print yes. And then we have else if magic number equals to 42, print yes, else print no. So that's all for basic and most useful conditional code. Any problems? And then it comes to function. So function is very similar to other language. You just type fun, and then you say hello. And then this is a function without a return type. And then you can just say print hello. And then you now call the function say hello. And then the second type of function is a function that you will take a parameter. Let's say you want to say hello to a specific person. So you would declare a function like this, say hello to person. And then you type the parameter inside, let's say the person name. And then you declare the type string. So now I want to say hello to this person. Hello to person name. So this function will print out hello. If the person name is Peter, it will say hello Peter. And this is how you pass a variable or a constant inside a string in Swift. So let's say I want to say hello. Say hello to a person, Peter. And then you'll print hello Peter, and then this is a new line. You will have a new line after that. And the third type of function is something with a return value. You want to pass in the function, calculate something, and then you want to have a result. So let's say function what day is today, and then we're going to pass an integer. Say you want to pass a string of day and then convert it into integer. So let's say if day equals to 7, you return 7, else return 0. Oh. So this function will see what is the day string, and then it will see if the day is equal to 7, it will return an integer of 7, else it will return 0. So now let's say we just run what day is today, and the string we pass is 6, it will return 0. If you pass a string of 7, it will return 7. So these three types of functions are used most frequently in iOS programming. Can you guys catch up? So I'll continue. And then the next thing you need to learn is loop. So when you want to do anything more than one time, so you want to see how many apples are there, and then you want to look through every apples, and then we will use this one. Normally we will use for each loop because it's very easy. So let's say we have the lucky numbers, we have 5 lucky numbers, and then we want to print each of these lucky numbers out. So we will have a for number in lucky numbers, we just print the number. And let me do a demo. So let's say this one. Let lucky numbers equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. So to use a for each loop, we just say for, and then you can declare a variable. So let's say for lucky number in lucky numbers. So the first one, the lucky number without an S, and the second one with S means it's a list. You can declare any name you like, but for best practice, it's better to declare something with S and without S. So I just print the lucky numbers, the current lucky number, and then it will run for 4 times. You can So what if I want to add all of the lucky number together? I want to add 1, 2, 3, 4 and make a sum of all the lucky numbers. So I will also use a for loop, and then this time I'll do a function like this, like sum lucky numbers with each type. So now we are writing a function to sum up a list of lucky numbers. So in the function, first we declare a total amount to 0. And then we will for lucky numbers in lucky numbers. And then we will add the current lucky number to the sum amount. Let's say sum amount equals to sum amount plus lucky number. And then in the end, we return to sum amount. So now when we run the function sum, and then we put lucky numbers inside, yeah. So you will look through every element in the lucky numbers, and you will add 1, and add 2, add 3, add 4, and pass it up into some amount and return it. So now you have 10. So this is a very basic function, right? To do some calculation. I'll give you guys 1 more minute to work on this one.
We are so honored to have two distinguished guests who came and support our workshop today. The first one is Simon, very famous iOS educator, and the other person is Christine Chow. She's with the Hong Kong and China Apple education team. So they are both here to support our program. May I know how many of you are actually CS or E background? Can you raise your hand? Thank you. How many of you are not with the CS and E background? Only you.
And no technical and coding background.
Little bit. I see. May I know your background a little bit? Python. I see.
And machine coding.
Machine coding. And you are a postgrad student here?
No, I'm finance.
Finance student. I see. Cool. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Please continue.
So I'll continue with our next slide. So just now we just introduced the for each loop. So what if you want to do something you can control more? So all the CS and E students, many of you actually write in Java or in Python. There's something like for x equal to 0, x less than something, and less x plus plus, and then you loop through something. So this is how we write it in Swift. So it's the same thing, but then now you have an I instead of for each number. So this is the same as saying for I equals to 0, I less than the number of lucky numbers, and I plus plus. You get it? Yeah, let me do a real demo. Can I delete this one? For I in 0, lucky numbers, print I. Oops. The numbers dot count. And then you can see that actually for I in 0 dot 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 lucky numbers, we will print for 5 times, because lucky numbers dot count is the number of count in lucky numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 elements. So I will loop through 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in the end, it prints for 5 times. But in practice, many of the times you want to loop less than the size of the array, or you will get an abstraction error. So instead of dot dot dot, we will use dot dot less than. And then now you see it prints for 4 times instead of 5 times. Dot 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 is until. Dot dot less than is less one number before lucky numbers dot count. Something like this. And then print I is not the correct way. Actually, you should say print lucky numbers I. This should be the correct way to do it. So let me write the same function again using a for loop instead of a for each loop. So now I declare a new function sum, same as just now, and I'm taking an array of lucky numbers into account, and then I need to return an integer. Then the same thing, I declare a sum amount equals to 0 first. Now I'll use the for each for loop for I in 0 dot dot less than lucky numbers dot count. I'll let sum amount equals to sum amount plus lucky numbers I. And then I'll return sum amount. So this is the same function but without the for each. And now I run the function sum and pass in lucky numbers. And you still get 10. So So there are many ways to write the same program. So it depends on the preference and depends on the context you want to write. I'll give you guys 1 minute. It seems most of you have done, so I'll go to the next thing. So the next thing is class. Any one of you heard of object-oriented programming?
OOP.
OO programming.
Yes, I have heard of it.
Actually, in programming world, we try to model the. In the programming world, we try to model the real thing. So we are creating class as something to model. Let's say we have a user, and then we declare a class called user just to model the real person in our program. So that we can better control what's going on in our program. So, let's say this user is Peter and he's like this. So in Swift, we use class most of the time. Actually, in iOS programming, class is the main thing you use all the time. So it's very important to learn class. So now, let's say we now want to model a real person called Peter. So I'll do it in Swift like this. I delete now. You declare a class, and then you call it user. And then we need to design what's going on with the user. So a person will have a name. So now we will declare a name for user. Let's say name. And every class will need a constructor. Let's say if you want to make the person, you need to have a function to construct this person. So this constructor is actually called init in iOS. So when you are married and then you give birth to a new child, you won't just give birth without a name. So you give a name, it's a must. If not, you will become anonymous. So the same goes with our program. When you declare a new user, you want it to have a name. So in the constructor is just like giving birth to a new thing. So we need to have a name too. So we pass a name as a parameter, and then we will declare the name of this user to become the parameter. So let me do more to make you more clarified. So let's say I want to declare a new user called Peter equals to user name Peter. And then this user is an object with the name Peter. And now I want to print the name of this user, so I just print Peter.name. And here you have Peter, and here. So now I want Peter to have age too. Declare a new variable called age, integer, and make it default to 0. And now I have a new parameter to call when I create a new user. and then I will have the self.age equals to age. And I will have an error because in the constructor I say a user might have a name and an age, but in the program I didn't declare an age, so we need to rewrite it again. User name Peter, age 22. And does anyone know what's the difference between self.name and just name? Aaron? What's the difference? Okay, self.name actually refers to the current contact. So now we are passing this parameter. The name will be passed to this name. So every time you want to refer to something of the current context of the class, you will just use self.name. If not, if you don't use a self, the program will, I think it should be okay, but it's not the best practice because most of the time in the programming world we work together with different engineers. People are going to be confused by your practice, and you have an error too. Because they confuse which name are you referring to. There are two variables called name. So you just pass in self. And that's it. This is the simplest way to declare a class. And as you do more on iOS programming, you will understand more on class. Because even though I started, I don't understand class until last year. They need more time to complete. So I'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so this is a very important one and it's quite challenging. Because in most of the language, you don't have a type called optional. But in Swift, you have something called optional type. Optional type means it's a variable, but it can be now, it can be new sometimes. Because just now, let's say I'll show you now. I will use one first. So let orange equals to orange. If you have written Java, most of the time you get now pointer exception in the program. If something becomes now. And in iOS, now is called new. So if I want to change orange to new, because now I have no more orange, and you get an error because orange cannot be new. Orange is a string. So now I'll teach you how to use the optional in a real scenario. So now let me go back to the class just now. Let's say we are going to rewrite the class. We are talking about Peter and his girlfriend. So sometimes Peter are alone and sometimes Peter have a girlfriend. So you never know when will he have a girlfriend and when will he be alone. So to handle this kind of situation, we will have optional type instead of a permanent type, like equals to string equals to 0. So let me write this out in playground. Class user, while name is string, and now I declare is an optional with a question mark. Then you don't need to declare an initial value to it. Its initial value is new. And then I will have partner name. And now I will declare a use constructor. Name, it can be now. And partner name is another self.name equals to name. And self.partner name equals to partner name. And this is how you declare an optional value. So now let's say Peter now have no girlfriend. So I will just declare Peter as a new user, Peter. And the partner name is now. And actually, if you want to confirm, you can write if else to confirm. Let's say Peter the partner is new. I'll just say Peter has no girlfriend. Else, I would say no, he has. So actually this class is very important. You should like save it or you can put it on a bullet drive because when you're writing iOS programming, this is how you declare a class most of the time. Because in the real world there are many things that can be new and cause a null pointer exception, or if you call it in Java. So the best practice is always to declare a class variable to an optional value. You can question mark first instead of giving it an initial value. So now after 1 month, Peter have a new girlfriend. Her name is Jane. So now if you run the if else again, you will detect that Peter has a girlfriend and he will say he has a girlfriend. Any problem? It's quite confusing at first, but the more you write about optional value, then you get used to it. If any of you cannot see the board or you just can't keep up, we have a recording and then we'll put it on YouTube after today, so you can always refer to what I did on here. So there's no need to rush. Yeah. Yeah, let me go back to the slide.
No.
No? Okay. One more minute. So let me add one more thing at the bottom. So in Swift, there's a better way to do this instead of using comparing new all the time. It's called if let. Do it here. If let is the way we use to safely unwrap the value of something that is optional. Let's say if let, what's the name? If let name string equals to Peter dot partner name, print name string. Else print Peter has no girlfriend. So this function actually, it will check Peter's partner name, which is an optional, and then it will try to unwrap it into a string. So this is a string. And then if you successfully unwrap it into a string, we'll just print name string. We just print the name of the partner, like this. So let's say if I remove Jane to Neil, and now because the program cannot successfully pass Peter's partner name into a string because it's a null, and then now it will just go to the else part that Peter has no girlfriend. It's almost the same as the bottom part, but now you can actually unwrap it and use the value instead. And one more thing. No problem. I'll continue the next slide. So this is what I did just now. Same, Peter have a partner, but then he has no girlfriend right now, so it's a male. So normally if you want to do this, you say if Peter.partner name equals to nil, I will say Peter has no partner. Else, I will try to print Peter name. And you can see that there's an exclamation mark at the end. So I will show you why you need to put this exclamation mark there. Can I delete the whole thing? Just put it at the bottom. Then you can see. So I declare orange as an optional string. Oh no, I'll declare a variable. So now I declare orange equals to orange. If I print orange, you can see that it's not a string, it's an optional string. If you print it now, you will say optional string because the value of it have not been unwrapped. So if I print orange again, so if I put exclamation mark at the end of an optional value, I actually force unwrap this value and put it up like this. So now you can see the difference when you're trying to pass an optional type, you need to unwrap it every time. And then in the real world, if you are writing iOS program, if you use the exclamation mark like this, and it fails to unwrap it, let's say I declare orange as null. You get an error, and then your app will actually crash on the user phone. Because you cannot force unwrap something that is new. So that's why we need to use if let to make it safe. That's why we use if let fruit equals to orange to print the fruit. They did nothing here because they are not able to unwrap orange. So if orange is something with a real value. So now you print it out. So when you're writing iOS application, it's a bad practice to do the exclamation mark unwrap all the time. So that's why if let is invented to make it safe so that the user have a good experience. The app will not crash suddenly. Any problem on this one? And there are plenty of documentation outside or tutorials you can practice more on this one. And then, this is all for basic Swift syntax. So now you have a 10 minutes break. If you have a problem, you can ask me directly or our helpers, or you can go to the toilet and come back at 4:15. Thank you. So now we are going to start writing the real iOS app instead of learning Swift only. So by the end of this session, we are going to write a very simple application like this. That's showing the time now and with a background. So you will require Xcode 7.3.1 or above. So if you don't have it now, don't update it because it's going to take a few hours for you to update Xcode. So some of the computers have some technical problems that you cannot run the code once you write it. And we are trying to solve this as soon as possible, but now you can just follow me through the steps that you can do. Okay, let's go to Xcode.
7.3.
I'll close all the storyboard and come up with a new Xcode project now. So just now we do playground. So now we are going to write real iOS application. We are going to create a new Xcode project, which is the second one. So click on it, and you will choose applications and single view applications. This is the most simple, the simplest thing you create when you write iOS app. Around okay, so we choose next and just put a name.
Demo.
Organization, just put anything, demo. And identifier, just put like com.demo.
Swift.
It's okay. Language, you choose Swift, and device, you choose iPhone.
iPad.
And take the first one, and just take the other two.
Oh.
And run there, and next.
Demo.
And yeah, I'm just gonna put it on desktop. I want to just take this one for, just take it. And then just create a new project. So now I just create a new Xcode project. So it's right here, this one. So First, I would like to introduce like how are the basic settings of Xcode. So Xcode basically you have it's designed into three different panes. So there's the left one, you click it, and you will hide and show the left pane. The left pane is mostly used for project directory. All your files you want to click on it is the left pane. And then we have the right one. This is the right one. So this one is for all the settings. So every time you want to configure a setting, you will use the right pane. And then the third one is the bottom one. You can see. The bottom one is for log message, error message, or terminal, anything that has to do with more terminal stuff. So okay, let's go back. And then you click on storyboard, this one. And then I'm gonna close the other two so you can see it more clearly. So this is what Xcode has done for you when you create a single view application. And this is the screen. If you click to run it, I will run it on iPhone 6s. Your iMac cannot run on simulator because of some technical problem, but I can show you here now. And this is the simulator. So this is actually what Xcode done for you when you just go and write. When you create a new project, it's a blank screen. And then this is it called demo. Just click on it. And then this is the initial project setting. Let me give some basic thing. So, iOS development, you only need to remember two things: the storyboard and the class. So the storyboard is where you design all user interface, everything that the user can see, every screen. So this is a view controller, we call it. And here you design everything. And one view controller will be linked to a class called view controller.
Hello.
And the logic part is done here, and the display part is done here. So let me show you more examples. So you can see this is a view controller, and then I open the right link, and then I'm gonna click on this one. You can see the one with a tag. So every time you want to set something, you will use this one. And you see it is a square instead of a shape of an iPhone, because starting iPhone 6 and onwards, all the things are relative, because iPhone 4S is very different from the size of iPhone 6S. So now people tend to have a square class so that they can have better design for different devices. But for myself, I like to use iPhone 6S. So for the size, I will change it to iPhone's 4.7 inch. So now you can see this is the size of an iPhone 6S. And then at the bottom right part is all the components you need to design an iPhone. So let's say I want to put a label. So this one, bottom right, and then the circle square thing, click on it. You can see all the components you need. And now I'm going to just like this, drag it into my storyboard, and that's it. And then I run it again, you can see actually there's a label. So now this is what I drag, and this is the real app in action. So now I click on the label. I can resize this to how big I want and place it anywhere. So here is how you define the property of the label. Let's say I want the font size to be bigger than 17. So I just define it here. Let's say 42. It becomes bigger. Or even bigger, I want it to be 60. And then I want to change the font style to thin. And then here you have the label property change.
Yes.
And I want it to align center, so I just click on this one. Center.
Center.
And then the label is now centered inside square. So now run again actually. Become like this. But in iOS, it's a weird thing, like what you see is not actually what you get. If I try to run this on an iPhone 4S device, you can see that the label is actually not at the same place. So on an iPhone 4S, the label is actually more to the right than in the center. And because in iOS development, we use auto layout most of the time. So now in order to design more efficiently for iOS, you need to use auto layout. And it's a quite hard concept to master. You can only master auto layout when you do more, but I will teach you the very basic one. Okay, in fact, if you want to check how is this screen displayed on different devices, you can actually just use this one. You click on the wheel controller, and then you, on the top right part, there's a two circle thing. You click on it, and then you got to have a side-by-side view of two different elements. And then, okay, so this one is to hide and show here. So this thing here is to hide the side panel of the storyboard, so I can have more space. And then, so I want to preview all the screens on different screen size. I will just click on this one, automatic. I'll just click down, preview, and storyboard preview. So now I can preview on 4S, iPhone 5S, and then I'll just add more iPhone 4S, iPhone setting. So now you can see, like, if I drag the label here, on 6S it's not exactly like this, but on iPhone 4S and iPhone 5S, actually they are off the place. And it looks different on iPhone 6S too. So in order to solve this problem, we are going to use auto layout in iOS. So this is a canvas. So in order to use auto layout, we need to think a bit. So let's say this is the time label we need to use. We need to set all the things that we change and make it fixed. We need to set the width to 200 and set the height to 60. And then we're going to align center the whole UI label in the center of the view. And then we are going to stick the time now to be 80 pixels from the top of the screen. I'll do this thing in real time, real demo, so you can have a look how it works. So let's go back here, and I'm going to take it back to the normal view and put it here. So I turn now I need the right pane. And I resize it now. 60.
Yeah.
So at this corner you can see there are a few things. They are all used for auto layouts. And then I'll let you see. So this is how you add constraints to a UI label. So just now I said I want to set the width and the height of this thing. So I'll just set width to 220 and height to 63. I click these two, and then I just click on add two constraints. And you can see that there are constraints on this label, but it's labeled in red because I haven't finished. You click on the third one, and then you click on update frames, which is to update the screen to what you will actually see on the real device. You can see that UI label will just fly away to somewhere else. Because in iOS Spring design, you need to have the UI label be certain that it will display at a certain place. So now I only set the width and the height of the label, but the label itself doesn't know where should I be in the whole screen. So you need some spatial reasoning. So I want the label to be in the center of the screen. So I need to set a constraint to ask the label to stand in the center. So to set that, you click on this one, the first one, or second one. And then we'll set it to be horizontal center in the container, so that the label will know, oh, I need to stand in the center instead of floating around. And then I'll try to update the frames again. And then you can see the label now. The label now knows that it has to be in the center, but it doesn't know that where should it be from the top. It will appear like this on all the devices if you don't set the correct constraints. So the last thing we set is to set the distance from the top. I open this one again, and I want to set the top one to 80. So I'll set the top to 80, which means that the UI label we need to align the top 80 pixels from the top. And then add constraint again. And now the lines becomes yellow. The yellow lines means that it's a warning. The constraints are correct, but it's not in the right place. So I just update the frames again. So now everything is fine. So let's preview it again on all the phones. And now you can see that it's centered in Air and centered in iPhone 4S. It's also centered in iPhone 5S and even in 6S. Any problem on this one? Let me run it on iPhone 4S now. Yeah, it's right in the middle.
I cannot edit. So put everyone 83
So I will teach you again how to open the preview. So basically, you click on the two circles on the top right corner. And then here, because at first it will show automatic like this. When you're on storyboard, you click on the circle, it will show something like this. And actually, you just need to click on the automatic. And at the bottom of the menu, you have a preview. And then you just click on main storyboard preview. And then you will get a preview. And then you just add the device you need from the add button. Do you want me to do the constraint part again for you?
Sure.
Just delete everything. Okay, so now I will redo the constraint part again. So I drag the label, put it here, and then I just resize it like this. And then I will set it to center, and then set the size to 60, and then to thin. So in order to set the constraint, I will just click on the third one at the bottom right. I'll set the width to 200 and the height to 93. I'll just click on Add to Constraints. And actually, you can see what other constraints you have set at the top right corner, this one. There's a ruler here, you just click on the ruler. And then you can see that if you actually set the width to 200 and the height to 93. And then, because the label now doesn't know where it should be on the X and Y value of the canvas on the screen. So we need to specify the X and the Y value. So for the X value, we want it to be in the center of the screen. So we just set it to be horizontally center. Horizontally means center, means horizontal center, means it's in the middle of the screen. You click on this one, and then you click on Add One Constraint. And then we'll have one more line here. And then we want the label to be 80 pixels from the top of the screen. So we'll click on the third one again. And then remember to click on this to make it red. So there's two sticks. You make it red means you want to set it. And then I type it 80. So 80 and make it red and add. Now it becomes yellow. Now I just update frame. There are two update frames. The first one is the top one, the second one. The first one is to update the frames of the current view. The second one is to update the frames of everything in the screen. So I use the second one. And now you update to the correct position of the UI label. Any problem? So you can always check what kind of constraint you have set at the ruler bar. So you can see I have set 1, 2, 3, 4 constraints. So let's say I accidentally set a wrong constraint. I can always double click on it and delete it. And then you go back to 4 constraint. Any problem? So you can practice more when you go home if you have MacBook, or you can come here to practice on storyboard. And now I'll go back to the next step. Let's continue with writing the clock. So just now I said that one view controller is connected to one view controller class file. So to see this in our program, we will have a look here. So in order to see what kind of file is connected to this particular view controller, we will have this one. You click on this one to the left of the tag. And then you can see that the class part, you can look at the class and you will see the file that is connected to the particular view controller. And then you can choose them, but then the default is this one. And this file is actually referring to this file, this one. Again, so the class for this view controller is actually the one in here, which is we are going to use this one to configure what happens in this one. So in order to control what the label will display, you need to drag the label into the file. Let me show you now. Again, click on the view controller, then click on the two circle thing so you can have side-by-side view. And then just now we're using preview, so we need to go back and press on automatic and view controller. This is it. So this file is used to control this controller. So in order to control the label, we will click on the UI label and then press on Control on your keyboard and then drag here like this. Drag it right below the class view controller. I'll repeat again. So you click the label and then you press the Control on your keyboard, not Command, Control, and then you drag it here. And then you choose outlet, and then just name it time label. Yeah. So this is what we do. You just control, drag, and name it time label. Any problem in this one? Everyone can do this. And now I'm going to delete everything in this file first. Okay, before we write the code, let me explain how the life cycle of iOS works. So every time you launch the app, you will launch something called App Delegate. And App Delegate is the first thing that will run on. Then only it will run your view controller, the first view controller of your forward. So now we want to change the label to something else. Let me check. So this view controller file is actually this one. And every view controller will have many methods, but three of them are the most common. The first one, view deload, is when the program runs and then they're trying to load the view controller into memory. And then the second method is to be called when the view controller is trying to appear on the screen, but before appearing on the screen of the iPhone. And the third one, view it appear, is a callback when the screen is actually appear in front of the user. So in order to change the label, we can do it. For now, we are going to do it in view appear, so that when the screen trying to appear, it will change the value of the label and display it to the user. So now we go back to Xcode. And right below the IP outlet, we're trying to use override. In Xcode, many of the things is autocomplete, so you can just, it will complete for you. Function, then will appear. And then you will see that they have autocomplete for you. You just type on it, and that's it. So to change the label, we are going to do some very simple programming. So time label dot text equals to hello. And that's it. I run it again now. So now the view actually become hello. Okay, now let me finish the last part. So now we want the label to display the current time instead of hello. So we will do this in view will appear again, but now with the current time. Let me show you. First, I'll declare a date. Let date equals to ns date. So in Swift, every time you call an ns date object, it will give you the time now, the date and the time now. And then, like in any other programming language in Java or something else, you need a date format to display the date in a correct string. So we'll declare a date formatter again. Date formatter. NS date formatter. And just now I shared in the public Google Drive, I shared a link. This is actually a cheat sheet for the date you need, the date format you need to configure. So we're going to configure today to display as 12.34 and then AM or PM. So we will use this cheat sheet and then we do it here. We will declare date format dot. They are going to configure the date format for it. So according to the cheat sheet, hours are displayed as small h, and then we have minutes 2m, And then the AM and PM we are going to use 2A. So now we want to pass the date, which is an NSDate object, into a string so we can display to the user. So we are going to declare the date string equals to date from the string from date. So what has been done now is the date formatter will pass the date into a string according to this format. So let's say it is 9:41 a.m. to display as 09:41 a.m. Something like this. And then the last step we do is to copy this one and put it at the bottom. So now the time label is no longer hello, it is the date string. Okay. Run it first and then you can have a look again. Oh, you can see I have not enough space for it. So I'm going to resize the label again. Let me resize the label. Technical problem. Yes, and then this is the current time. What we did is override the view controller and then we will override the view will appear method, which means that when the screen is about to appear, we try to change the string of the UI label to the time now. And then this is the way to change the string to the time now. And then you will have an app that's showing the current time. And that's it.